Commissioners, the meeting live. Okay. I'll call the October 21st meeting of the Riley County Commission to order. Please, everybody, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, good morning.
Morning.
60% chance of thunderstorms today. Did I see that right?
Gosh, I hope we get 160 of it.
Yeah. Could use some rain if nothing else to knock some of this pollen out of the sky.
It's so dry.
Yeah.
Bunch of rain.
I don't know. It's been a little bit weathered over the weekend. I don't know if it's just jet lag. I don't know. Delayed jet lag. I don't know. I think allergies, a little bit of everything. So yeah, let it rain, please. Okay, we'll start off with some public comments this morning. Have anybody from the public? Uh-oh.
Commissioner Brian Parker, Deputy County Counselor. I'm just asking for 15-minute executive session to be added during County Counselor's administrative time.
Move to add executive session to administrative services time.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to add a executive session to the administrative work session time. All in favor?
Hi.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, anybody else for public comment this morning? We're quiet bunch, aren't we?
No other way.
Yeah, that could be Monday.
Monday.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll move on to commissioner comments then, and Commissioner Kinley.
Well, because I had no comments times last week that go back to Thursday week for the 10th.
Oh, I didn't go.
But well, I had something I want, and I know we got a full schedule, so I'll be brief on most things. But on the 10th, the Historical Society had a meeting in Keats with several people talking about the history of the area. I wish I could tell you what was covered, but I can't. They originally planned for about 50 people and serving pie afterwards. And as people kept coming in, I was sent into Dillon's to get by more pies.
And there was a little left over too.
There was one left over.
One left over.
And they sent it to the museum for the next day. But so when I got back, it was total numbers, they had 101 attendees.
Wow.
Holy
I didn't know
cow.
it was that many.
And
Catherine
was very happy to be overrun with people and interested. She said that's the biggest crowd of an event they ever
I
had.
think so. That's bigger than I've ever been in.
I mean, we're setting chairs, we had to open the closets, kept setting out more chairs, and more people kept coming in the door.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Then last Tuesday was the EMS building update with the contractor and the architect, and they're going to be covered that later. And Thursday morning last week was Good Morning Manhattan with somebody from Hutton Construction, not EF Hutton.
Yeah.
Although we listened. And then also Representative Tracy Mann. Thursday this afternoon was a city county meeting, had presentations from the MHK Riverfront Project and Conza Health's new facilities. And Saturday was the museum had a walking tour of Sunset Cemetery. Heard interesting stories, had some random places, some interesting people and the occurrences out there of how people ended up there. It was interesting. And that's all I got.
Okay. Well, let's say I just started last Thursday. I did also attend the Good Morning Manhattan at 4 Points Event Center. Guest speaker, U.S. Congressman Tracy Mann, and E.F. Hutton. I always thought they were just a finance.
It was just
agency.
it's not EF.
It's Hutton Construction.
Construction.
Out of Wichita.
Okay, because I was confused.
Yes,
So.
no, it's not. Yeah, they're not related.
That afternoon, I did attend the Heartland Works Elected Officials Board via Zoom. Under discussion were potential changes to the organizational structure Members requested additional time to consider the changes. Can't disclose them at this point. I didn't want it out in public, but we do plan to get back together in November to continue the discussion. Later that afternoon, I too attended the city county meeting here in the chambers. Riverfront project has been under discussion since I think 2017. When we first started working on it, but it was really good to see the projected plan in public and have an open discussion with the city and other parties. And I had seen the plan before, probably in a little bit more detail. They showed more of the plan. Another discussion was held by the Cons of Health program that's moved to its new location. They've taken over the building that was previously owned by Via Christi Health and earlier by Ray's Apple Market. That goes back a little ways.
Before that, it was Safeway.
Was it
Yes, it was
Safeway before
Safeway.
that? Okay.
And Food for Less in the middle of there somewhere.
That was a food for less as well.
Food for less, okay. They will have a ribbon cutting, and open house, tomorrow. This weekend, I helped train, election day poll watchers at the Democratic headquarters. Watch the K-State West Virginia football game, and do some house cleaning chores. It was very much needed. Sunday did church and reviewed the agenda and documents for today's meeting. Kind of caught up on things. Grass. That's it for me.
I don't think I'm gonna go through each of the last 10 days.
No, I just do it.
I'll try to give just a quick summary and overview, but the Friday before last, we did have a pre-law board meeting. Heading up to today's law board meeting, which is in the city of Riley. So if you stop by City Hall today, we will not be there. So just putting that out there. I did have a separate meeting after that with Director Pete just to discuss some agency and program related things. They're already starting to talk about the 2026 budget. So had a little discussion on that as well as just some of the facilities discussions that have been pertained here over the course of the fall. Sunday, left for AUSA, was there till Wednesday, went very, very well, I would say, yeah. Had a chance to meet with congressional staff, talk about some local and regional priorities, that went very, very well. It was a combined effort from everybody that was there and available from the region. Talked to Michael Matthews, our legislative director at NACO headquarters, first time I got to see that. He's the director of both the committees I'm on, so we're able to talk about some related issues there and talk about the upcoming Operation Greenlight. They're planning some pretty cool stuff for that too. So all in all, good trip. Got a lot out of it as I typically do. Came back with a little jet lag towards the end of the week. Thursday morning, I did attend that Good Morning Manhattan as well. Congressman Tracy Mann, I think that's been pretty well discussed. Let me get back to my original notes here. Yes. Thursday afternoon, I listened in on KAC's County Government Guide to Understanding Kansas Open Meetings Act. Am I listening? Okay. This was a combined actual online presentation. It also included Kansas Open Records Act as well. So they combined it into one, covered the basics and provided some practical tips and best practices for everybody's role in local government. Apparently there's been some issues here lately. Several counties have been kind of nicked. One of them has been fined and has to do that presentation thingy. I can't remember which county it was, but kind of dealing with how they went in and out of executive sessions on an item. So anyway, so I think that's why they kind of did this. Jay Hall, Deputy Director and General Counsel for KAC was the presenter. As mentioned, I too attended the October City County meeting here at the board chambers. Heard from Tracy Anderson, from Anderson Knight Architects, and Phil Anderson, MHK Riverfront Executive Committee member, discussed the Riverfront MHK project and what it may look like actually moving forward. I too had seen it in advance, so I kind of knew what to expect there. We also heard from Danny Hallgren, Chief Executive Officer from the Cons of Prairie Community Health Clinic, on their new space, which has been mentioned here in Manhattan, and have updated all of their programming and have some new programs they're putting together for it as well. Saturday, watched K-State beat West Virginia and Morgantown, 45-18. I didn't come close this week. It's a 1 week thing. Once again, we kind of started off slow, but got it clicking and got into gear for win number 6, and it makes us bowl eligible. We're off to our best start since 2014, so it's been a decade.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. So,
Yeah, that makes
hopefully I just didn't
sense.
jinx us.
Yeah.
Especially coming into this way.
Right? Anyway, spent the rest of the weekend catching up on things at home and preparing for what's going to be a very busy weekend. So that's all I've got.
Ready for business, commissioners?
We are.
First item I have, need a motion for the Big Lakes appropriation approval agreement for services.
This is just signing the contract.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I would make a motion to sign the contract with Big Lakes appropriation approval for 2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Where is that at? Oh,
There isn't.
okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the budget appropriation for Big Lakes Development Center in the amount of $232,685. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All three sign, please.
You're supposed to date this because those signs don't have a date on these.
Yeah, I don't think so. They'll fill the date in up there. Cover all of you.
I'll put my agenda in there somewhere. On the bottom.
Yep, it's on the back there.
Oh, got stuck.
Yeah, I don't think Big Lakes needs that.
No, I don't think so. I think the tab was sticky or something.
Thank you. Next, commissioners need a motion to approve letter of support for KDOT application for the $10,000 operating grant for transportation assistance for July 1, 2025, June 30, 2026 for Big Lakes Developmental Center.
I move to approve the letter of support, KDOT application for Big Lakes.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve a letter of support for a KDOT application for Big Lakes Development Center. All in favor?
Aye.
All three sign, please. Ryan, did you let Vivian know there's going to be an exec? Thanks, sir. Next, commissioners need a motion to approve the Veterans Day proclamation for 2024.
Oh, there it is. Let's see, I would make a motion to approve the proclamation for Veterans Day 2024.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Veterans Day proclamation for 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
All three, please sign. Next, Commission need a motion to appoint Nancy Rocheleau as City of Manhattan Representative to Solid Waste Management Committee and approve the resolution doing so.
I moved to appoint Nancy Rocheleau, is that?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
As the city Manhattan representative on solid waste and approve the resolution 10/21/24 appointing a representative to the solid waste management committee.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Nancy Rocheleau. I'm gonna go with that. As the city of Manhattan's representative to the Solid Waste Management Committee and approve resolution number 102124, resolution appointing a representative to the Solid Waste Management Committee. All in favor?
Aye.
All three, please sign. Next, Commissioner, Riley County Employee Action Forms, Kevin Wilcox, new hire, commercial pesticide applicator, noxious weed, household hazardous waste. And then Shannon Seafried, new hire, public works operator 2. All three, please sign. Commissioners, I have the accounts payable and payroll that you approved by motion 2 meetings ago, just
Oh,
need signatures. So motion's
Okay.
already been made, so just signatures. Commissioners, any changes to the minutes on October 10th?
No.
I remember October.
Me as well.
Where was it? No.
I think it was a Thursday, but
Okay, I would make a motion to approve the minutes as written for the Board of Raleigh County Commissioners October 10th meeting.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the October 10th meeting of the Riley County Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Commissioners, any changes to the minutes on October 17th?
Oh, pretty simple there.
Move to approve the minutes of the October 17th meeting as presented.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the October 17th meeting of the Riley County Commission as written. All in favor?
Aye.
Commissioners, how the tentative agendas look?
Won't be here on Thursday. I'll be zooming, at least majority of the meeting.
Okay. And
And
then,
then I'm not here on 28th, a
correct.
week from today.
Any items for next week's press conference, commissioners? Okay, we have Megan Lewis at 9 o'clock.
I'm not sure what. The agenda, I want to print it out, list the minutes for both meetings, but it doesn't list the tentative agenda. The one I've got pulled up here only has the minutes for the 10th, but lists both tentative, there's two different
Mine's the
places.
same way.
That-
Mine's, I don't know what's, I'm writing this note to Cindy here right now.
There's some reason there's two different copies of stuff in here.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Looks like Thursday's mostly just staff updates.
For guys in the
Yeah.
computers.
I was just back to the K-State game. I was so pleased. Johnson made on each of those touchdown throws. Hit the receiver and strike, right? Especially the first one on a fly route. And then the other two, we're talking heavy coverage, the ball exactly
Right through, yeah.
You know, that's what made me, because West Virginia is a heck of defense.
Oh, yeah, they really are. Especially, I mean, they're better against the run than the pass, but.
Yeah, yeah.
There for a while, we were struggling with the run.
yeah.
Well, a matter of time, getting to, man, you know how dangerous we might be next year.
Don't like him.
Yeah, I think pretty much the entire offense, with the exception of the line, comes back.
I mean, I don't want to jinx it.
I don't either.
I mean, you know what I'm thinking about next year, like one of the four.
Yeah.
I mean, I just assume they heard all this stuff.
Good, are you? Good.
So which one do you know for sure? No, but thank you so much.
I do have to say, okay, you did pretty good against Houston.
Did they? I didn't see any of it.
What? No, no, you. Good, are you? I'm done. You shot
Don't
down.
change that for me.
No, no, no. You shot down the idea of finding it, fixing it. That thing went down in flames. So I tried.
One word response and I just can't say it here. Well, you know, you
Yep.
can lead a horse to water. but,
Absolutely.
You know, so
Absolutely.
still looking.
Still looking. So,
I tried to help end it for you.
right, ma'am, I appreciate it, but yeah, that wasn't convincing enough.
Okay, maybe that's too. I didn't know that. Sure. We're still better than budget.
Oh, that's.
Yes, it's best that. I mean. It's done. Yes.
Go ahead, Dave.
Good morning, Megan Lewis, Director of Community Corrections. I am here this morning to request to fill the position of Intensive Supervision Officer 1 that primarily serves Lake County. As the board is aware, I previously served in this role for 15 years and the position was left vacant when I transitioned into my current position as the Director of Community Corrections. This position serves all of the programs that we offer for community corrections, including juvenile intake and assessment, juvenile intensive supervision, the immediate intervention youth court program, as well as adult services programs such as adult intensive supervision and the adult drug court program. We are primarily funded by the Kansas Department of Corrections, and in FY 2025, we will receive supplemental funding from Clay County in the amount of $37,791.85 for the shortfall that we have faced for our personnel expenses.
That was for 2025.
2025.
Okay, and did nothing for 24.
Correct.
Okay,
And this is something that we have included in our budget.
You think you know what's needed in that position?
I think so.
Spot on. Wow. That was cool.
yeah, you'll probably be a tough supervisor. Yeah. Okay, Well, I would make a motion that the Board of Raleigh County Commissioners approve the request to fill the position of Intensive Supervision Officer 1 for the Department of County Corrections.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded. The Board of Riley County Commissioners approve the request to fill the position of Intense Supervision Officer 1 in Clay County. All in favor?
Aye.
All three, please sign.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Next, Commissioners, you have Amanda Webb at 9:05.
Somebody else is giving that presentation. She's not here.
It must be Elizabeth.
no.
You said somebody from the
Yeah.
city.
So you don't know. Oh, okay, good, thanks.
Oh, okay.
It won't,
If we got till 9:05.
it won't be until 9:05.
Till 9:05. So you got a couple minutes.
Thanks.
Okay.
What's your
I didn't
name?
recognize you, sorry.
That's okay.
You're John?
Yes, I.
Okay.
No, it didn't work at all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Looks like you got left.
Oh, let's not get it.
Then there was one.
Well, 1 out of 3 isn't bad.
Yeah.
Baseball, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a batting title.
Yeah. What is it? The song 1 out of 3 ain't bad. That was a song
Mm-hmm.
somewhere back then.
Yeah.
You know, you're too young.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I'll take your word for it.
Man, I can't
What's that? Who
can't
did
remember
that
what
song?
that is. No, it was 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. Okay.
But I can't remember what the song.
Well, 1
is.
out of 3 works too. There was, what was that song? Rich, do you remember?
Do not, I can almost hear it in my head.
Yeah,
It's
real famous group.
Meatloaf.
Was it?
Was it Meatloaf?
I'm listening.
Yeah.
I know,
Sounds
that's
good.
me.
I think that's who it is.
Huh.
Well, belt out, of course. Let's hear it.
That'll clear the room.
Always sounds better in the shower, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Meatloaf.
Meatloaf,
Yeah,
all right. Meatloaf. Tired.
you know who Meatloaf is.
I actually do know that.
Do you? Oh,
I
okay.
do know.
Do you, John?
I just remember listening to it on 8-track.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, yeah. And on that note, it's 9:05.
What's his
I'm not gonna dig any deeper into that.
Your history lesson for the day.
Yeah.
You get to follow that.
8-track. I got it.
Good morning, John. I'm
Yeah.
Assistant Director of Community Development for the City of Manhattan. We created a zoning district, 2 zoning districts that had to do with public institutional uses when we adopted our community development code a couple of years ago. At the time, we did not undertake the rezoning of our parks or facilities to that new zoning district, PI 1 and PI 2. PI 1 is mostly for recreational and park uses. We are undertaking that now, and through a little bit of mistiming on my part, we're having a hearing about it this Thursday, and then talked to the county, talked to the school district, and I got to Amanda a little late. So what I'm here to ask is whether you're willing to throw in your lot, your portion of Seco Park with this rezoning, and we would be able to do that. The advantages of going to the parks rezoning is that any use that's allowed in that district can just be done automatically. Once you state what the use is. In this case, it's a known quantity, it's a park use, it's also used for the county fair. and that would be the remaining use. There's also some lightening of sign regulations. It's a little easier to get signs in there than it is in other zoning districts. The other thing, also last year, the new EMS facility was rezoned to PI2 to facilitate the building of that. All they had to do was go in and pull a building permit in order to get that done. So that's basically it.
Would you remind me what PI2 is?
Public and institutional, too. And that's for facilities like sewer treatment plants, the EMS facility, City Hall, for example, our joint maintenance facility. So basically a building or facilities like that.
So would Potter Hall that, is open to the public and has a lot of public meetings sometimes and people pay for them, would that be not considered a PI1?
So what was the first?
Potter Hall,
Oh,
because we lease it out to various entities around the community. Would that not be a use in PI1? Wouldn't that be more?
it
of a
would be allowed in
PI2?
PI1. Yes, Potter would. I mean, it does allow a broad amount. It's just the thrust of the PI1 is more towards recreation and parks land. PI2 is more towards like facilities like the joint maintenance facility, the sewer treatment plant, things like that. That doesn't mean though that there aren't uses, that there's a lot of overlap in the permitted uses within them. So Potter would fit within PI1.
Okay, or a facility like that.
Exactly, yes.
Because right now it's some residential,
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
keeps our options open.
it does
I'm
keep the
seriously,
options open,
yeah.
and we don't know for sure what we're gonna do
Right.
with that property.
That's why I don't want it right now. I think people are, we can always change it later if we need to, but right
Yeah,
now I'm not in favor.
I'm saying that we don't really know at this point what we're gonna do.
Right.
Yeah, we're a little bit behind in redeveloping our plans for Seco Park, unlike you guys at the city, so.
Okay.
Kind of going along with that train of thought too.
Yeah. Yeah, if we were further along with that,
Yeah.
we do this, right?
So just so you know, next year, we're planning to undertake PI2 zoning with the city, the rest of our facilities, and at that time, we can wrap this in if you're willing to do it at that time.
In this building, I assume the county building.
We're gonna be-
TI2.
I think we're gonna leave,
Because we're business.
it's down, yeah, it's zoned downtown to, commercial
Oh,
right
yeah.
now, we're just gonna leave it that way,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay,
All right,
but thank you.
all right, thank you.
Next, Commissioner Jeff Press. Oh, nope, you have David Adams, 9:15. Not jumping ahead.
Just want to skip David.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't make it that easy on him.
Oh, come on, don't be a problem. You guys here, 11:15, 11:30. 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Mhm. Didn't get that thing.
Keep saying printer's low on toner and ink.
That thing always says that.
Eventually it's gonna be right, but.
This is true.
Hey, David.
Right, good morning, Commissioners. David Adams, Senior Instructor with my monthly update. So starting off in operations call for service, we had 464 in September, so pretty busy month. So the breakdown, as about typical of what we would expect. The headquarters station, 151, Station 2 and city offices had 138. Public Works 62, the airport was 77. That was a little higher than typical. But when looking at those, a lot of those were in town. Because they do cover part of the city as well as Ogden and that corridor. And then Leonardville 34. So okay, here we have a hiring process for our full-time position, and actually they're doing that as we speak. That is my calendar blowing up, so that's what they're doing right now. So I think they're going through 4 people this morning, and then we have some more that have come and trickled in after we sent these letters out a couple of weeks ago. So they'll kind of evaluate and see how it looks, but it looks pretty good so far. So the CMS audit of our department based on building codes is going very, very well. We've received one little letter of just saying something to think about, and it has to do with our signatures. When we take somebody to the hospital, there has to be 3 signatures. Our crew, the hospital who's received the patient, and then the patient. Well, sometimes the patient can't sign, and so our crews are putting in the signature line, I think it was like unable to sign. They're saying, no, they prefer not to do that, leave it blank. Even though it says don't leave anything blank, leave it blank, put it in the narrative. So, but it didn't. It said it may have slowed up our payment by a day or so for somebody to have to go back and read it, but not a red flag by any means. It's just something they would prefer not to see. So, but otherwise it's going very, very well. So, working on new building construction related topics. You have your first update from the construction company today. So, our meeting a week or so ago was very, very well. Really like it. They're getting ready for the last of the concrete inside the building, hopefully this week, and the apparatus bay, part of it is poured. But they're gonna get the rest of that poured, I think, this week. Looks like they're putting in the forms this morning for the drains. So, but looks really good. We're excited. We're a third of the way through. So the 12 months, so, but who's counting? So, but Josh and Alex participated in the airport emergency plan for tabletop. We'll do that every year or so with them as part of their FAA requirements. All of our staff went through the Dementia Friendly Manhattan training with Debbie Nuss from the Flint Hills Wellness Coalition. So it was good training. We just did it Zoom. the Red Station. Takes about 45 minutes, but we're happy to do that and to be a part of that, of the dementia friendly Manhattan. So that was good training. The Flint Hills Balloon Festival planning, I think you guys are now aware that that's coming. We've been involved in the planning from the beginning, but just haven't said anything because wasn't our place to say anything. But that's gonna be exciting. It's coming here next month.
Next month, when is it? Do you know? What time of the
Might be
event?
important to know.
I can tell you, I can look it up. I'll just say November 8th, but I'm not gonna, I don't recall, but it's next month.
Yeah,
Actually, you can't tell us.
I've been to about 4 balloon fests in Albuquerque, and it's quite.
Oh,
it's
that's
a-
unique.
Of course, that's like with 500 balloons.
Oh, yeah, no, this would be like 20, 25, something like that.
So
it's
they hit a tower
amazing.
there this year.
Yeah. Well,
So.
but it's an amazing
But yeah,
event.
it's a Friday night, Saturday, and some Sunday, so it could be really neat,
Yeah,
so,
it's gonna be
I know
something
they're
to
advertising
go
it
to.
on Facebook pretty good, so, but, you'll start to hear more about it, but, it's gonna be in multiple locations throughout town, so, but, we've been involved in that planning, and we will have a presence there on, I believe, Friday night, so, but then, so there'll be more to come.
Hopefully the weather will cooperate.
Well, the good thing about it is, we're not gonna worry about, it's not gonna get hot, hopefully. We shouldn't have a lot of heat issues and shouldn't have a lot of alcohol issues.
Oh,
Those are the two things when everybody starts talking about a festival.
out
Two
of
things that come to
it.
my mind, heat and alcohol, so, but we should be good there, so knock on wood.
You get a DUI from riding a balloon?
No, from driving around following you. Is what
Okay, gotcha.
Depends on who the pilot is too. I don't know.
How are they gonna pull you over?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
You gotta calm down eventually.
They shoot him down.
No, don't do that.
Wow.
I would advise against that.
This went sideways quick. But they've been very good to work with, very, very professional, the group that's putting this together, locals, very, very professional, so it's been a lot of fun, we've learned a lot, so. Jobs for America presentation at USD 383, Josh participated in that. So I've got our staff working on the annual employee evaluations. And they're doing it with a smile on their face and.
You can't lie.
Yeah, I
I really appreciate it, David.
Thank you. We continue to participate in the mental health working group at task force and the substance misuse working group at task force. I've been asked to kind of chair that misuse task force until they get a new director in, so I'm prepping for that. I'll be sending out an email to those in that group here this week, so. Hands-only CPR, stop the bleeding training for county staff. I think we've kind of run the gamut there. I don't think we've had much participation the last couple of times, but so we're gonna evaluate that and whether we just need to pause that for a little bit of time, maybe bring back up in the spring. So continue to migrate operational checklist. A new one came out last week, so so they're slowly moving that through. That just takes time, but it's cleaning up what we're doing and making things a whole lot easier. The DEA changes that I've discussed last month. So there's the first webinars are here this week. So we'll participate in those webinars and just see what it is, but it has to do with reporting of substances. So we'll know more, I think, after this week. So then continue with case reviews, field performance, and we had 23 event standbys since my meeting here last month. So
That
college
time of
football,
year.
high school football,
Mhm.
junior high football, cross country, those types of things. So, yep, that time of year. So, and then we're getting ready to add basketball here
Mhm.
in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So,
Around the corner.
yep. So, really nothing changing under education. And then community outreach, car seat check lanes, the fire prevention week, every year we go up to, Randolph and speak at the grade school up there on safety, and such. And then we participated in the National Night Out. And then we'll have more participation this coming up here with, Halloween. So we always get requests to, like we'll be in West Loop Shopping Center and in some of those places where they bring emergency services in, so kids can see the vehicles and such, so we have 3 or 4 of those that are coming up. Our breakdown of calls, nothing out of the ordinary there, you know, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, so. Early range breakdown, again, nothing that really jumped out at me. 10 to 11 o'clock was a little slower than it was a couple months ago, but you know, it picked back up at midnight. So then top 5 responses by dispatch. You know, again, nothing jumped out at me. Transfers were 44. Those fluctuate every month, what we take out, what we bring in, so. Unconscious is kind of a catch-all. It could be unconscious because of alcohol, it could be unconscious because of a syncopal episode, they fainted for whatever reason, and it's kind of a catch-all, you know, they won't say it's unconscious because of alcohol unless they are absolutely sure it's because of alcohol, you know, so.
Falls is pretty high.
Falls is pretty high, and I'm not sure, well, I know we had a couple days where curbs were biting people.
Really?
I think I want to say at least 5 calls that I know of that fell off a curb.
Alcohol?
No, I think it's just,
That makes sense.
well, right, I think several, I know several of them were just older folks. And sometimes they don't see that curb, or sometimes they don't get their feet up.
You don't have to
or
be
something.
old not to see curves necessarily.
Right, well, true, so, but I know they had a curb day, so they ran a bunch of falls over curbs. So
Somebody gave you that memo, huh?
I missed it apparently.
Okay.
You'll have one of our poll workers on next month's report on our stairs.
Yes.
Last week.
Yep. So,
Yeah, stairs are,
and then I put in here the 4 breakdowns of the construction as we discussed last month. But you'll get a better breakdown today from Michael and his team.
It looked like the downtown numbers are coming down.
Yes, they are. One of the 2 that we were dealing with or helping quite a bit has been placed appropriately and gotten the help that they need. The other one has come way down, and then we've had a couple of days where we've had some hiccups. But we've been there and helped them, and then we've had some follow-up conversations. So, but yes, those people kind of fall through the cracks, you know, and it takes some time. And so that's what we're here for. to kind of fill that gap, you know.
It's good that you're doing it.
Absolutely.
Look like it's getting a little better.
It is. So getting them the help that they need. Now, we've got a couple new ones in different parts of town that I've noticed over the last week that we're going to and doing some assists with and such. So it's what we do. No, so but yeah, it'll be hopefully not like those numbers were pretty, they were outside the realm of anything we've had before. So, but you know, that's what we're here for. But they, you know, you can see those numbers can balloon pretty quickly.
yeah.
Anything else for me, commissioners? Okay, thank you. I'll be back at 11 o'clock.
Thanks, David. Next, Commissioner, you have a press conference at 9:30.
Oh. Anything that I'm just. Exactly.
Okay, that's the edge. Derek, when you come up here and just slide through it.
Okay.
Just fall on the-
Great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, 3. They were doing clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was it.
No, I never looked it up.
Or finding
Yeah.
murder incident.
What's that? So, just something like this.
It is, you know, so. No, this is probably.
You stay up and watch Monday Night Football.
Sometimes if it's somebody, I don't think tonight, there's two games. Tonight, there's
Yes,
two
sir,
games.
two?
There's one on ESPN Plus.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Saw them advertise, they were advertised yesterday.
Did not know that.
That's what Dave Lewis posted on Facebook. Can we at least have football games without political ads?
That's why everyone wants the election over. Just get done with watching political ads.
And the junk in the mail.
I know. Susan Bowler, who lives here in town, has been bringing me the stats she gets.
Oh, really?
Look at, because I don't get near as many out there.
Yeah, we don't get, well, there's no.
They just get stacks of them.
That's what. 4 years ago, there was a guy in Riley, got a shark, he kept her. And then at the end of the election, he took a picture that had him all.
That would be interesting to do.
Yeah.
That would be,
A whole
especially
pile of
this
it.
year. Yeah.
I haven't gotten too many this year.
Just think of the money. God.
No, I paid that.
Some of those kids
Wasn't
beans
sure.
have.
I'm not sure how, because most people come in from the mailbox and they go to.
Yeah, I know. That's the first thing I
Where you
do.
walk. Well, that's over half of the mail. I do that with, they come in, go to the trash can.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Sure, I found where I was going.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm surprised it still works. You know?
Okay, so we have ourselves, that's hard to believe, it's almost Veterans Day already.
It
isn't
is
it?
almost Veterans Day.
Doesn't quite
Yeah.
feel like it outside, I'd rather.
Well, I've got some flags for you
Okay.
guys, so you can start
Okay,
getting prepared to
All right.
wave your flags. And
okay.
then this year we have our dog tags.
We already got some of those.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Chuck sent some of it last week.
Then we get some more.
Good to know.
Be a bunch of-
So-
All right. Good deal, okay, red, white, and blue, we're good to go, okay.
Yes.
So here's our Veterans Day proclamation for 2024. Whereas the men and women who have served in the armed forces of the United States of America have made major contributions towards the preservation of freedom of this nation and its people. And whereas the services performed by these millions of gallant Americans have demonstrated the willingness of our nation to meet the challenges of those forces wishing to subjugate individual determination through armed conflict, and whereas honorable service performed in the defense of our nation and her cause in the time of war is the highest form of citizenship. And whereas the Congress of the United States of America has designated the 11th day of November each year as Veterans Day. And whereas Veterans Day has become a significant part of our American heritage as we recognize the millions of our citizens whose military service has had a profound effect on our history. And whereas Veterans Day offers us as a county, as a state, and as a nation an opportunity to rededicate ourselves to Abraham Lincoln's call to Congress and the American people to take care of for him who have been born to the battle and for this window and his orphan and. Whereas this nation and its free world are eternally grateful for the contributions of American veterans, men and women, to the advancement of the cause of honorable world peace. Now, therefore, we, the Riley County Board of Commissioners, do hereby call upon all citizens to observe Monday, November 11th, 2024 as Veterans Day. and ask that that day be observed with the appropriate ceremonies in honor of those who have served to preserve our principles of justice, freedom, and democracy. In witness whereof, we have unto set our hands to cause the seal of the county of Riley to be affixed this day, the 21st of October, 2024. Okay, so, yes, got that.
Okay,
I'm
thanks.
sure you've got a few words to say
I
yourself.
do.
Okay, go right ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So, the Flint Hills Veterans Coalition is renowned locally for producing the largest annual Veterans Day Parade in the state of Kansas, but there is more to the club than meets the eye. The Veterans Coalition was formed in 1993 to foster patriotism, to honor and perpetuate the memory of area veterans, service to the country through promotion of Veterans Day activities, providing scholarships for veterans and other good works. This year, the Flint Hills Veterans Coalition will once again sponsor the Veterans Day Parade in Manhattan, Kansas on November 11th. Traveling from the mall to City Hall, our parade begins at 9:30 in the Manhattan Town Center Mall and travels down Points Avenue, ending at the Manhattan City Hall. Patriotic displays of veterans organization, marching bands, civic groups, businesses, and even the Mounted Color Guard from Fort Riley will speak of the Flint Hills' love of the country and appreciation of those that have defended it. Following the parade at 11 a.m. inside the City Hall building will be the Veterans Day Ceremony of Honor at Peace Memorial Auditorium. This year, the theme of the day is Veterans Helping Veterans, and that's what's on your dog tags. And these will be handed out during the parade along with the flags. Our guest speaker will be Mike Riley, VFW District 4 Commander, Captain, USMC, United States Marine Corps, retired and Vietnam veteran. Patriotic music and essays by Manhattan school children round out the afternoon celebration. We'll start the day with a delicious breakfast at the American Legion Peace Color Post number 17 from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Partner with the Knights of Columbus 4th Degree Monsignor Lucky Assembly. Veterans can fill up on biscuits and gravy for free while the public is charged a small fee. Finally, from November 4th to the 11th, please stop by and enjoy the patriotic military exhibits at the Riley County Senior Service Center, the Manhattan Town Center Mall, and in store windows up and down Points Avenue. We invite you to discover the proud history of our local veterans as you enjoy the displays and military exhibits throughout downtown. So it is great pride and gratitude that I accept this proclamation on behalf of the Flint Hills Veterans Coalition. And we invite you all to make sure you're there on Veterans Day. So thank you very much.
Christine. Hey, I think Gina, you're up next.
I've been here since Symphony on the Plaza occurred, and I don't know if any of you were there or not, but were you there? It was an absolute, it was unbelievably fantastic. We did not expect to have the numbers that we had. There were so many people picnicking and just enjoying the view. It was such a beautiful day. One of the really cool things that happened was the bells from the tower. Right as she was getting ready to start the symphony, the bells went off, and it was just like everybody went, "Oh my gosh!"
Choreography, we planned that. We had that planned.
Lots of feedback that folks really loved the setting, although we are going to purchase some speakers so that everybody can hear better. That was one thing that there were so many people there that they were around the corner and you just really couldn't hear. We'd like to have, we're working on having a holiday concert from children to all the way up to many groups from K-State and around the community during holiday open house. So I'll get back in front of you on that for permission to use the plaza, but I think it's going to be a really great place to host those kind of events. The community really seemed to love it. Did you have any problems afterwards or notice anything? I came back the morning of and just kind of for the morning after and did a walkthrough just to make sure there was no trash, and everybody did such a great job of cleaning up after themselves.
I heard it was a wonderful event. That's the only thing I heard.
Yeah, good. Okay. So, probably in the 16 years since I've been in downtown, probably the most, wonderful, humbling, award nomination has occurred this month. Several months ago, we were nominated for a 2024 Great Places Award through the American Planning Association, which is pretty significant. And then we actually did win that award. So downtown Manhattan along with the city of Manhattan is on the 2024 Great Places roster now officially designated. And we join Overland Park, Mass Street in Lawrence, and Old Town in Wichita. So it's a pretty great honor to have achieved this. And of course, goes back to hundreds of people who have been involved with downtown revitalization and just making downtown the phenomenal place that it is. We are getting ready to embark upon our very full fall and holiday schedule. We have Fall Treats Day coming up, Holiday Open House, 12 Drinks of Christmas, of course, parade and carriage rides. And all of that can be found at downtownmhk.com. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Rich Barber, Raleigh County Clerk. I want to remind everyone, advanced voting is currently taking place. We're open Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 5 p.m. Friday, 7:30 to noon, and then we are going to be expanding hours. We were originally just going to be open the Saturday prior to the election, 8 a.m. to noon. We're now going to add this Saturday as well. So I do want to announce that we're going to add additional hours to this Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon.
Both locations or just
here? We do not have Saturday advanced voting on campus. No staff are there. It's much slower there, advanced voting, than here. Last Wednesday, we had over 800 people come through the first day. That is
Great, 800.
double what we typically have. We were pulling full-time staff from places. You all know Justin Brenner, who works in Noxious Household Hazardous Waste. He's one of our supervising judges on election day in North County because we have a hard time finding people. We pulled him, and Michael graciously donated him to work advanced voting. We were getting hammered with advanced voting. So we've had many full-time staff have to get pulled and go over there. The first 3 days we we're at 2,082 as of Friday.
Wow.
So it's just tremendous, the amount of advanced voting. It's, advanced voting, as I've always told commissioners, it was originally implemented to increase voter participation. Stats will show you it never has increased voter participation, but those of us that once we use it due to convenience, and you never know, what life changes may happen on election day, emergencies, or in Kansas, the weather. People find the convenience, and once they use advanced voting, they continue. And they're even up until recent history, a lot of people didn't really know if they could participate in advanced voting. They thought maybe it had to be a special reason. I think people are finding that, understanding that anyone can just go and advance vote now, which they can. And that's the reason we have it. And the reason we like it is because it takes the pressure off the polls on election day. We really like that to avoid lines at the polling places. Now we have had lines in advanced voting, but that's okay. It's going well, but people are definitely taking advantage of it. Encourage people to go out to the Riley County website and pull up their sample ballot. A lot of people are surprised, everyone's going to show up because of the presidential election. And they, of course, are aware of that contest. We have other federal contests, state legislative contests, all county commission positions are on there except for one county commission district. They're surprised by that. And then it just continues to get longer because then all the judges are on there and no one expects that. And so I encourage people to go out there, just speeds up the process, whether you go through advanced voting or at the polls, being aware of that. And you don't have to vote on all races, but yeah, you do need to vote on those that you pull up, and a lot of people will just vote for the presidential, and that is fine. Want to remind people that the last day to apply for a ballot by mail is October 29th. That's the last day you can apply for an advanced ballot by mail, and that just simply because when someone applies for that, we can't hand it to them, we have to mail it to them. So it has to get there, they have to fill it out, and then they have to get it back to us. what we do encourage people, just anyone applying for an advanced ballot by mail, we really encourage people to hand deliver it back. You just can't, it's out of our control when it's in the United States Postal Service and we want it to get there in a timely manner. We can accept advanced ballots by mail the Friday after the election day, but they have to be postmarked election day. And sometimes we get mail that is not postmarked. And if it is not postmarked, even though they got it there on the appropriate day, no one knows. There's no proof. So we cannot count that. So encourage people to, if possible, hand deliver those to us if they're local here, of course. If you're not local, then you just have to rely on the mail system. Any questions, commissioners? Of course, all the polls will be open, 26 polling places on election day, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Running a few minutes behind, Derek, but whenever you're ready, appreciate you guys being here today from Topeka too.
Just scroll from this computer up here, scroll and everything.
You should
Perfect.
just scroll down here.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, everybody. I'm Derek Forlog. I'm the Bureau Director for Family Health for the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. Here to talk to you this morning about childcare licensing, both at the state level and then locally as well. A little bit here in Riley County and some of the various counties that the Riley County Health Department covers on behalf of KDHE. I gotta say, 18 to 20-year-old Derek, K-State student, did not imagine that I'd be here presenting to the Riley County Commissioners. I can tell you that much. About
Surprise.
yeah, right. My contributions to the local economy pretty much include a $200 illegal right turn ticket, which I didn't pay on time. So just thought I'd follow up on that about 13 years later, I think it's been. So enjoyed my time at K-State, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Okay, just about for you. There we go. So with you today, of course, I'm Derek, as I mentioned. Melissa Schoenberger and Jarvis Dolman will be up here shortly, and we'll try to keep things pretty brief for you all in the event that you all have questions and just in the interest of time. Go ahead and roll into it. So at a broad level, of course, you all know how government structures work, or maybe don't work, but you certainly know how they're laid out. In general, our childcare licensing program actually falls under the Bureau of Family Health, and that's the portion that I oversee. The easiest way to describe KDHE is we have 3 divisions. So one of those being environment, of course. We have a division called Healthcare Finance, and that's Medicaid, so the state's Medicaid program. And then we have the division of Public Health. Underneath each division, there are bureaus. It's where the Bureau of Family Health falls within the Division of Public Health. And then within bureaus can be, there can actually be sections, there can be programs within sections, so on and so forth. So for us, the child care licensing program operates within our Bureau of Family Health. We do have different levels of supervision within the program and oversight to make sure operations are going accordingly. And then our field services, those are kind of what we refer to as our licensing specialists. You all may have heard of them as surveyors previously, and we'll get into certain terminology changes in just a moment too. I'll let both my operations director Jarvis and then the systems and field services director Melissa, they'll touch on both of those a little bit more in depth, but generally speaking, our program, we do serve to carry out the health and safety component of our state early childhood plan for the lead agency. The lead agency of that state plan is actually the Kansas Department for Children and Families, so DCF. They carry out the state plan for the Office of Child Care. So lots of different levels to this stuff. The licensing in Kansas is actually in statute. And so there's some things that actually require licensing in the state. As I just mentioned, childcare licensing, part of the larger state early childhood mixed delivery system. Just to give you all a very general overview of kind of how complex it can get in terms of early childhood. That's childcare licensing, that's childcare, but it goes way further than that, I would say. So it includes KDHE, but we also have the DCF, as I mentioned, the Kansas Department of Education, KSDE, and then the Children's Cabinet as well.
I'm a part of something called the State Directors Team, otherwise now known as the All In for Kansas Kids Leadership Team. On the right-hand side there, though it's kind of difficult to see here, those are the different pathways for early childhood governance in Kansas. And so again, very difficult to see. We have our, of course, the governor, and then the Children's Cabinet and Trust Fund, our All In for Kansas Kids Leadership Team. We work within that system to try to bring the different mixed delivery components together. And we actually just released the All In for Kansas Kids Strategic Plan, which can be found online as well. This graphic here is within that plan, and that's actually where I pulled this from. So Google Children's Cabinet in Kansas probably be your best friend. I can always get the direct link for you all following this meeting. We do support local investment by way of aid to local structure, and within our Bureau of Family Health, again, this is just within what we would call BFH, the Bureau of Family Health, childcare licensing, which we're here to talk to today. But I do also oversee with the co-director our Title V maternal child health program. I directly oversee our state WIC program, which I just a plug for them. I was here several weeks ago and met Commissioner Ford there. We had the delegation from Columbia, which was here. I'm sure you all heard about. And even prior to that, a couple of months prior to that, the USDA was in town to do sort of a roundtable event with Senator Marshall. And so Riley County Health Department and the WIC program, very highly regarded. So that's my little plug for them. And then home visiting as well. Home visiting at the local level can look like a variety of different things. And home visiting also exists within several different state departments. So state structure at its finest. Just a couple of our changes real quick that I wanted to mention. And again, Jarvis and Melissa may touch on these more specifically, but you know, we've really focused over the last couple of years. I've been in my position since February of 23. So though it feels like about 10 years in state's time, only a year and a half or so. And so some of the things we focused on are some terminology changes. We've looked at we used to have an enforcement team, and we've since changed that to monitoring. Monitoring is a federal term, but I think what you'll notice broadly is we want a little bit more of a supportive touch to our terminology. We are not trying to go into specific to childcare. We're not trying to go into programs, into homes, into centers, preschools, all of our licensed programs, and necessarily find things. We're there to support them. Of course, having potential citations and enforcements are part of that process, but we really, when we talk to our staff, whether it's staff that are processing an application, whether it's local health department staff doing a survey or doing a community event, we want them to be supportive and really have that community approach in mind. And I think that's one of the best things that can come from our contracts with our local health departments. And those are really, for the most part, focused on our larger urban areas where the local health departments have that capacity to do so, is they're able to build those community relationships. And whether it's somebody that's interested in becoming a licensed provider, or they have a question about the process or need information on how to go about something, we want them to have that direct link into somebody that's really there in the community. So that's one of the best, I would say, things that we see come from our local contracts. Proactive listening, of course, you all may have heard about our recent regulation overhaul. Those went live in August 2nd, just a few months ago. So we're still in the process of gathering data to see the effects of those. Though I'll say the feedback we've received from providers and from our own KDHE licensing specialists and local health department licensing specialists, the feedback we've received has been very positive. So we're continuing to look at things and changing things as we go, updating and modernizing all that good stuff. The regulation engagement, I'll mention, we made a concerted effort to reach out directly to our providers and include them in that process. I did not include a graphic of what's called the promulgation process in Kansas, but basically the process of getting a regulation from draft to final form, you all probably know is
Legislative.
yeah, there are just components of that which quite honestly can be out of our hands and then take time. So something we tried to do ahead of that was to do that engagement. We didn't want the public hearing just to be during that 60-day window. We wanted that to be part of the process clear up to that point. So we did that. And then also another little plug, we have something called a systems improvement team, which again, generally speaking, informs our licensing program about things we're doing well, things we could do better, barriers, seen at the local level, and something we are kicking off next month. We will be in Abilene for the North Central Region Roundtable, and again, can make sure you all have more information on this. But our staff, myself included, will actually be traveling to a center, I believe, going to a center in Abilene. So we want to go kind of directly to the provider and invite the public in. And that includes local commissioners, that includes state representatives and legislators and federal delegation as well, if they would like to attend. And we're going to ask some tough questions in terms of ourselves. So, we've got to be willing to be vulnerable and ask the community, what could we do better? What are you feeling? And something we found is, the childcare issues throughout the state exist a little bit differently in each community. Things that they are feeling in Greeley County could be very different from what you all may be experiencing in Riley, or they could be similar. And so those are the things that we seek to know here, as well as the things that we could do better. So I think I've spoke for way too long. I'm going to transition over now to Melissa Schoenberg. Melissa. And I will, as we would say in hearing, stand for questions at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Thank you for having us this morning. I'm Melissa Schoenberger. I am the Director of our Systems and Field Services. It's a mouthful. I need to streamline my title. Meaning I do support our program with all of our systems initiatives. So when I like to think of, especially since we're in K-State's backyard, our casino partners, and looking at our career pathway, our workforce registry, all of the things that are happening within that space, supported by our casino partners at K-State's, and then also our licensing field work. I see in your audience today, we have our licensing specialists. So I'm glad they're here to hear about all of that they do. This is a great visual that I use. It's the partnership rules in the child care licensing system. And why I chose to use that is that it shows it's a puzzle piece. It's not just one part. There's KDHE's roles, there's the local licensing specialist, there's a parent role, because parents in communication and providing valuable information about your child, it's their child who's enrolled in a licensed facility is important, and it's the provider's role. So it is not just one person dependent on this ecosystem to make sure everybody works to make sure that any child that is in out-of-home care is well protected in a safe and healthy environment. But at the local level, your licensing specialists, and we have 4 of them today, are very vital to that connection to the provider. They serve as the local experts. I was actually at a casino board meeting a few weeks ago, and they had they were discussing the groundbreaking of the facility that is going to be used in Manhattan as an incubator site, where we're going to be able to foster providers and starts. Moving them and having facilities outside of their home where they can learn a skill set and then move out. But what you may not be intimately aware of is that conversation started with Heather reaching out to me, Heather Ritchie, and saying, can we even do this, Melissa? I think we can, because KDHE and the local provide site approval, which is a huge component to making sure a program has viability to even move forward. And so even though Riley County did not get credit at the groundbreaking, they really were pivotal because they started the conversation of, I think we can do this, how can we make this move forward? So really wanting to give a shout out to that as the local expert in being able to put those regulations into a tangible code footprint to say, hey, yeah, I think we can make this work. They provide orientation. That is that's that first connection with a potential applicant to understand that we have over 200 regulations in our home. And some of them are very simple. We really pride ourselves in the fact that we wrote our regulations in plain language. But there's a couple that we still have some interpretation to. So it's really important because everybody's home is different. I mean, that is really the beauty of having a local childcare expert is because then they can assess a home and say, yes, we think it's gonna really meet our needs, or, well, no, we don't have a second exit, and the state fire marshal is gonna frown upon that, so we really need to discuss some other options. They provide all of our inspections once the orientation handoff takes place. They do initial annual compliance amendment and complaints. And I do really want to share that Riley County's team is not different than the rest of the state. There's an uptick in complaints, and I think we have this is a good consumer blowback to our agency, but we make anybody who has a concern about their facility very easy. You go onto our online website, you don't have to speak to anybody, you just drop it in, and we've seen an uptick of complaints across the states. And KDHE does take every concern expressed about a facility very. And so we have to associate a survey with everyone. So they don't get a choice to say, well, I don't really know if this is happening. Statutory requirement says, no, you have to go check what's happening. They provide ongoing technical assistance and regulatory training. Riley County team, we offered, when our new regulations rolled out August 2nd, we offered prior to August 2nd and after August 2nd, KDHE solely lots of trainings for providers. But we know we couldn't do it to everybody. I mean, even though we did break our Zoom webinars a couple times, we had 500 folks, and then we were putting people in the waiting room. We just could not handle the capacity. So Riley County with a few others said, hey, I want to do this training ourselves, and I don't want to do it via Zoom. I want to also do it to some of our home providers in person. So they offered 6 trainings. And we did that in partnership because we knew that some of the regulations might be open for, needed some of that gentle interpretation and just understanding where our program was going with our regulatory review. So I had the privilege of coming down and participating in the one in Manhattan and in the one in Wamego. And then there were a few on Zoom because we did want to give people option, because people do still love the Zoom option. But I really was amazed at the level of engagement that your providers had, especially here in Manhattan, how many showed up, how many questions we had, and then really it was a pleasure to see your Riley County licensing specialist team engage providers. And I took a step back and let them do what I like to say is the local expert. You know, I have to put my my money where my mouth is, and so had let them do their job because I just really want to go in and answer questions. But that then upserts the local role, and really wanted to make sure they had that, they continue to build those connections. So those just up about a week ago, and I would have to say they were very, very successful. KDHE provides continuous support services. We just don't do a training and say, hey, licensing specialists go out and go do good work. We have monthly engagement with our licensing specialists. We have a district specialist staff that is just dedicated to providing training and technical assistance to our county contractors. And then we have regional meetings. And we do some things like where we shadow our licensing specialists, we audit their work. So we do a lot on the back end to make sure that our providers are well supported and that regulations aren't arbitrarily being applied across the states. We want to make sure that we can be as consistent as we can. So if you're being surveyed in Manhattan and you suddenly decide to move to Miami County, that's the support service you get is the same. So we work really hard within our field services to provide that consistency. And I will get you a better visual of this because I do understand that it is a small writing, but we do have it on a lovely 8x10 and we like to share it out with parents and anybody who just likes to know a little bit more about the regulatory system. And I'm going to turn it over to Jarvis, and then we are going to stand for questions at the end.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having us here. So I will say, I just told Derek when I woke up this morning, I put this purple shirt on. I wasn't thinking about the fact that we were coming here, and so you mentioned it. So there's that. And then also, I want to say that No, I'm from Lawrence, but that's okay though. I will say that, my son plays a lot of, middle school sports and, well, I say middle school, he's in high school now, but plays a lot of sports. And when he hit, middle school, we started to travel here, just because he goes to Washburn Rural. And so we started to travel here a lot, and I had never really been here until then. So I enjoy coming here. I enjoy this town. I think it's a great community. So I'm always happy when we have to make a little trip here. I think it's a great community, so.
You look good in purple.
Right. Well, a lot of the stuff here, so Jarvis Dolman, I am the Director of Operations for KDHE. So I've been in my position, just a little bit over 2 years. And so within, my oversight, we have a background check team that we oversee. Anyone working in a childcare facility has to be background checked. Oversee our monitoring team that they're kind of referenced to, so they oversee compliance with our licensed facilities. And also we have an applications team, so any applications that come in, ensuring that those applications are being worked properly and efficiently. So yeah, we're here just to talk about the local process. Then KDHE, Derek touched on it, about how those funds flow down. So we get that funding from DCF, who in turn gets that funding from the Office of Child Care to carry out our state plan. A portion of that funding comes to the licensing team to carry out the health and safety portion of the state plan. And that is what Child Care licensing oversees. And so a portion of that funding we get, we have our own KDHE licensing specialist, but then we have our local contracts with our local health departments, various local health departments across the state. Those that wish to partake in that process and receive the funding. So what I have here is the required services for the grant funding. Melissa already touched on these, so I won't go into them too much, but these are the main components of what we require to receive that grant funding. The last one there, community outreach, really is, that looks different in every community. Melissa kind of mentioned that. And I think that, like Melissa said, that's the beauty of having these local contracts is that's gonna look different. The way the licensing specialists have relationships with those in their community, not just the providers, but the community itself at large, parents, it's gonna look different. So that's one of the great things that this process allows for. So here, these are just some additional program assurances, and I think Melissa touched on these as well. But and these, I will say, that these are all the things that are included in the contract that the local health department signs for when they receive the grant funding. So these can all be found there. They're laying out pretty plain there. But I won't read through all of them. But again, it goes back to ensuring compliance with health and safety, supporting the community, timeliness and inspections, and then there's reporting requirements tied to that. That just goes back to DCF and subsequently the Office of Child Care. We have to give them data and certain things. So those are just basic reporting requirements. I don't think they're too hefty. So here, just want to talk about a little bit about the funding that's provided and how it's provided. So really, the first step here is the availability of the funding. So really what that just touches on, there's a funding formula we have that kind of breaks down how the funding is dispersed or how we decided to give that funding. So these are the bullet points here of kind of how we do that. We got the US Census population for less than 15 years of age, the total facility count within the county, the total capacity within the county, the licensing specialist professional bonus. So depending on professional licenses or education, licensing specialists, they can get a bonus from that. So whether that's an associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's, or any other kind of certification, they can receive a bonus for that. So, and then there's also a multi-county bonus. So here in Riley County, the licensing specialists oversee not just Riley County, but there's a handful of other counties that they oversee. So for that, we do give a bonus for that as well. So, and I will say with this funding formula, something I've talked to Derek and Melissa about, last year actually was like, hey, I think we can do this a little different. How we give out funding. So that's something for us that we kind of got in our back pocket that we'd like to look at and see if we can be a little bit more creative of how we do give that funding out, because we do see that there are great local health departments. Riley County is one of them. Melissa just talked about the project that they helped start up. And so things like that, like if a local health department is doing great things, we want to be able to reward that. And not just give that funding just to be a yearly allowance. Like, let's reward those health departments that are doing the great things with our funds. So, and these last two things are really just kind of some simple requirements here. So the maintenance of effort basically says that the funding given to the health department can only be used on expanding the program or the licensing program. So, and then the priorities, the funds must be used to sustain or improve the program. And then after that, basically those are the priorities. But then after that, if there's things, like you said, with your community that you want to do different things within your community to expand the childcare or to make things better in your community, then that can be done as well. But the priority is the licensing program. So another thing that I think this might be my last slide here. The last thing that I really been wanting to touch on and trying to get really get into is the KDHE support on the side of our contracts. These licensing specialists, they do a ton. They do a lot of stuff that goes unseen. And I feel like in my 2 years, it seems like, okay, whenever something new comes out, it could be something as simple as just some extra information to give to our facilities. Like, we're throwing a lot on their plates. And for me, one of the things I've been looking at operationally is like, how can we support our licensing specialists better? They can't do everything. They already do a ton. So what can we do at the state level? What can we do? What can I do in my position to, support the health department? So these are just some of the things that I see we could do a better job with and that I'm really going to be focused on. So access to statewide resources, they know where those things are, but I think there's, especially our health departments that may not have a contract with a local health department is through KDHE, to be able to provide those resources to where they can find things. Me and Derek went out and did some, a road trip. We've done a road trip a couple of times and done across the state and done some different regional meetings. And one of the things we found was there was a gap in some of the communities that didn't know where some of the resources were for early childhood. So those kind of things, want to be able to make sure we're strengthening that and creating a connection there to help all the communities know where they can get resources for early childhood. And just collaboration with other health departments. And those reports we get, those reporting requirements, I told you, we get those quarterly. And we see a lot of cool things happening across the state through different communities. And in order to continue to build the ecosystem of early childhood, I think it's going to be important that health departments know what each other is doing, and that way they can get ideas from each other. So just supporting from that angle too. Recruiting and retention, that's something these licenses, all these things on here is all the things these licensing specialists do. But I think we can do a better job at the state of assisting with that. So recruiting and retention services, activities, again, it goes back to seeing what other communities are doing, making sure those connections are there. Consumer education, there's some things we can do at our state level to get information out on a wide range of things. So I think that's going to be something we're really looking into doing. And actually, we're kind of doing now, we're using our gov delivery system to push out things to our local health departments and our childcare providers. So, and then community engagement, things like this, showing up, when there's events going on and showing support. And I think there is a gap too, in a lot of communities that don't realize that how closely the health department, if they have that contract, how that process works, and that we are in tandem and we are working together. So I think just us being a present in events when we can, I think that's going to make a big difference as well. So, and that's the last thing I've got. Yeah, any questions we have, or is that something else to say?
The last thing I typically start with this, the last thing I'll mention, childcare in Kansas, childcare across the nation can be looked at a variety of ways. Of course, our childcare providers are all small business owners. So there's the economic perspective. There's the perspective of the parents being able to attend work. So happier workforce, happier business owners, that sort of thing. But I really like to center our elected officials and leaders in the child development part of it. Because that's the most important part. The byproduct of good childcare are the children. And so I just like to either begin or end with that. There's a lot of perspectives to it, but always thinking about the children, of course. So we could talk about this for hours, as you can tell, but we'll stop there. And if you all have any questions, we'll be happy to field them. We can also field them separately via other forms of communication.
Anything? Okay. I guess my only question at the moment is obviously there's some things changing within this realm. I know on the legislative side, that's gonna take a long time. We won't have to go there, but in terms of just basic formulas, basic change of philosophy, so on and so forth, are we looking at kind of a time frame? And if so, what would that look like?
Sure, I can speak a little bit. So some of the terminology changes and just the general approach of the program, those things are ever changing. So, and they've been changing for the last couple of years, as Jarvis and Melissa stated. So again, the state's, our perspective, our approach to it is to be supportive. And so we expect that from our local contractors, our local health departments as well. So engagement's been a huge piece of this. You know, we don't, I tell our staff, and in turn, we all tell our staff, don't just sit in your office. I would probably go crazy if I had to do that, but we have to get out of Topeka, right? It's hard to make decisions from an office in the Curtis building in Topeka for a county in Western Kansas or anywhere outside of Shawnee County for that matter, without truly being, you know, kind of boots on the ground. And that's what our licensing specialists represent. So that's been a great perspective too. As far as regulations and kind of the governance piece of that, we just recently went through a big change, like we said, a lot of changes, especially for our homes. So we have different licensure type, but really for our homes and our centers. We had some things that we have to come up into compliance to for the federal government, or else the state doesn't receive funding. So the background checks, those are federal requirements. The CPR training for providers, federal requirements. So, and again, we can dive more into that. There's some literature on our webpage about that as well. We had that component, but then we had other components that we really wanted to modernize in for our homes and our centers, preschools as well. So we did update things like the staff to child ratio, some terminology changes. We tried to, for staff qualifications. So essentially, you know, if you want to hold this position, here's what we expect your qualifications are. We tried to modernize and streamline those a little bit more, as well as accounting for experience in early childhood as well. We want people to have, you know, kind of lessen that barrier to entry, not necessarily lessening expectation, but we want people to, you know, come to the career of being an early childhood professional. What we're looking at now, so those are effective August 2nd. We're actually continuing that, except for right now we're working on regulation changes for our school age programs and drop-in programs, otherwise known as, or soon to be hopefully our out of school time programs. So some of the larger organizations that do things like that, YMCA's, Boys and Girls Clubs, but also local school districts, some other local organizations too that might run things like summer camps. Sometimes those things can actually fall under the realm of licensure, depending on kind of what they're doing and the state statutes and that sort of thing. But trying to modernize some of that too. So we've been doing the same process and those are out of the agency right now. They're going through review, and otherwise we would call it the stamping process. So Department of Administration takes a look, the Attorney General's office takes a look, and then we keep going through that lovely process. So we're working through all of that. We keep in close contact with our state legislators as well. I think building those relationships is hugely helpful. And this is something we really wanted to do at the local level too. I worked for the local health department in Shawnee County for a number of years. And I just, you know, I think at the local level, it's really, really important to engage with you all too, as you're making decisions for your community, to give you as much information as possible, information overload at times, to be able to make those educated decisions moving forward. So hopefully I answered your question, but again, we're open at all times.
I know how to get a hold of you.
You do,
Yeah.
you do. And I got cards on me, which I'll leave with you all, so.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for both of you coming today too as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And if I could mention too, we've been developing a relationship with Richard, Mr. Vargo, of course, and his time, and just trying to continue those relationships with the Riley County Health Department and making sure they get what they need from us too. So
Okay, thank you very much. Since we are running a little bit behind, do we?
Commissioners, we don't, legal doesn't have anything else besides the executive sessions whenever we're ready to make the motion.
How much time do we need? Do we need to roll over into 10:30,
I think we could, what do you think?
10 minutes?
I think we need 15. Can we
Okay.
can we resume at
10:35?
10:35?
Yeah. I don't think that this was gonna take all that long. I mean, this will be all right. Okay.
I move the county commission, including Chairman Ford, Vice Chairman McKinley, and Commissioner Foki, recess into executive session pursuant to the non-elected personnel matters exception to the Open Meeting Act. Clancy Holman, County Councilor, Ryan Parker, Deputy County Councilor, Jacob Hansen, Deputy County Councilor, Elizabeth Ward, Human Resource Director, and Rich Vargo, County Clerk, in order to discuss a personnel matter involving a health department employee, specifically the search for and hiring of a health department director. To protect the privacy of the employee, the open meeting to resume in the county commission chamber at 10:35.
I would second that.
That's a long one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we moved and seconded the county commission, including Chairman Ford, Vice Chairman McKinley, and Commissioner Foki recess into executive session pursuant to the non-elected personnel matters exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act with Clancy Holman, County Councilor, Bryant Parker, Deputy County Councilor, Jacob Hansen, Deputy County Councilor, Elizabeth Ward, Human Resource Director, and Rich Fargo, County Clerk, in order to discuss personnel matter involving a health department employee, specifically the search for and the hiring of a health department director to protect the privacy of the employee, with the open meeting to resume in the county commission chamber at 10:35 a.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Commissioners, the meeting is live.
Move the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
I would second that.
They moved to second, the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Move the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session.
I would second that.
They moved and seconded, the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Elizabeth, you're up.
Actually, I think it's Rich. I apologize, I created it, but Rich Fargo's a presenter.
Okay. So then Rich. I know we're running a little bit behind, but we're all right.
We are. Busy day. Good morning, Commissioners. Rich Fargo, Raleigh County Clerk. So this is actually probably coming to you, unfortunately, and that's, we've been busy the last couple of years, ever since transition of our previous budget finance officer to some scenarios in dealing with accounts payable and finance type issues with various departments. It's a big job, Commissioners. The staff in our office by the county commissioners years ago was given the authority to oversee, to be sure all departments are complying with accounts payable, financial policies, and also purchase cards. That's a lot. Each department has an AP type clerk that reviews their own, but then our staff has to go through, and it's the position that is under Brittany right now. She supervises this position currently, the administrative analysis accounts payable. And it was prior to Brittany coming on board to where, frankly, Commissioner, I was dumping a lot on this position due to necessity. And it was even happening prior to the previous budget and finance officer. There's a lot of work to do. Commissioners ask about reducing staff, keeping staff numbers low. How do we do that? And I've been open with the commissioners. I try to find really good people and I overload them. That's what we have. That's how I've always operated. I really don't like asking for new positions. I've told the commissioners, during this process that we're going through right now, this transition with getting a health department director and issues that we've seen that need to be shored up, that I may be coming with you with the need for additional staff, maybe in our office or maybe in the health department to help tighten up and to be sure that policies are being followed. My first attempt is always to see if we can absorb it within current positions. This is a current position. It's not it wouldn't be an additional body on payroll, but it would be an expanded responsibilities in the position. And I say expanded, and it'll be expanded because the job description will say that. Right now, it's doing these jobs. It's been doing these jobs for a couple of years, Commissioners. And so I'm not even gonna get into where that could go, but if the current person in this position leaves, that's the type of person we're going to have for that. Because everything flows downhill, and when all of us get over inundated, and there's even a position below this position that is taking on more now. It's adequate within its job description. We have that covered, so that's not what you're gonna see next is another request to come with the payroll position below this to be expanded. But it has gotten additional responsibilities when just day to day, the number of transactions that we have in accounts payable and purchase cards is enormous. I see all of them. I sign off on all of the purchase card ones. Every time I get one, it's a thick folder. So, like I said, this should have been done a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. This request is kind of how it came about. There's a lot that we deal with, Commissioner Daly. I deal with about 50 different subject matters a day, and that's not lying, between elections and everything else and other departments coming to me with concerns. That a couple staff said, I've been thinking about this position, if its job description isn't adequate. And I said, this person came to me and said, 2 people had come and talked to me about this. I said, well, I've thought the same thing. So if 3 of us are thinking, it's probably about time we brought it to the commissioners and just said, here's how it's operating, here's how it's working. We think, we don't think, we know this will help shore up some of the issues we're currently dealing with. It's the first step. I think there will be others once we get the appropriate people. The commissioners are looking at hiring for another department. and then further analysis of what they can do internally, but we know on the back end in reviewing all transactions for county-wide accounts payable, purchase cards, that we are going to incite even additional policies and procedures that we're gonna tighten down on things. And we are coming to you, commissioners, with a total review of purchase cards, number of purchase cards and staff and all that. We're already working on that.
That was one of my questions.
Yeah.
This,
Yeah.
We've got that.
it's not this issue, but it's something.
We've got that
discussed.
information, and we've talked to department heads on it, and we said, it's coming. And they say, how tight do you think it's gonna be? I said, I can probably get 3 votes right now to go back to 1 in the clerk's office, the way it is right now, so it's coming, we're gonna be tightening down. So they're aware of that, we're working on many of these types of issues, well before they get to the commissioners, because we wanna be sure we have our I's dotted and T's crossed, so. The expansion and responsibilities for this position is currently going on. I'm not gonna say that it's needed, this change is needed, but the responsibilities are currently getting done by this position. So what I'm asking the commissioners is to really allow us to update the job description, which we're gonna update it anyway, but to appropriately title it and grade it, which is fiscally a little bit more money, commissioners, as is presented in the commission agenda report with you. Now, if it is, and I hope it is approved by the board, I will absorb it and manage it within the current approved 2024 and 2025 budgets. I have time to manage that. And so that's what I will do. If you have any questions, I think I covered it in pretty good detail, but I'd be glad to answer any questions for the board's consideration.
What's the, go ahead.
I have a question. Can one person handle all this? I mean, there's a burnout regardless of the additional money, in the position. I'm just concerned that one person, can handle all that work.
Well, it's a team of 3, team of 4, including me, that deal with all of this. It's Brittany and then this position and then the payroll position. Well, the payroll position and a lot of these issues that we've been dealing with right now has been helping out too, commissioners. I think commissioners, and my staff knows my philosophy in our office. If some area or division needs help, we're just gonna find someone within our office to help out, and that's what we do, from elections to everything. So if we need more hands on deck, it's kind of in all job descriptions, other duties as assigned, we utilize that heavily. And so I definitely do not operate like a union. It's pretty widespread that if the job needs done, we just get it taken care of. I think for now, with what we're talking about doing, yes, I've talked to Commissioner Ford. I say, with some of this transition we're going through within the one department, I'd imagine once we get a new director, we'll be coming to the board with some suggestions. I know for certain in their AP fiscal analysis position, we've already rewritten that job description for how it was operating, how they wanted it to operate, to get a qualified individual in there, which isn't a new position, it's just a rewriting of that as well. But Elizabeth and I have talked for a while about, we may need to think about, the county board of commissioners, about assistant director at some point in time. And so we'll be talking about those things. I know within the health department, they believe they possibly, and we've looked at how some other counties do it, a billing specialist, medical billing and coding is a nightmare and very complex and complicated. Some of the things that we found, some of that wasn't getting processed. And so, yeah, valid question. We're not asking for more right now. We're taking our time. This is the first step.
Yeah, and that's, and this would include, and I know you're doing a compliance on grants kind of thing. Yeah, I think that's an important.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
something that we will be looking at as well.
Commissioner,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I would just add. The person in this position has been doing these duties for approximately 2 years. The person in the position is capable of doing these duties and to my knowledge is not burnt out on these duties. However, the amount of work and the amount of responsibility that this person has taken on is not being compensated for. And if we would lose that person to another job, to another opportunity, what our job description and our pay is, we would not find that same caliber, that same skill set. So
Okay.
that's my thought on whether this is
That's
the
your
right fit
thoughts.
for one person.
I can tell you, myself included, but through the transition and budget and finance officers, we were there at burnout.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but if we're fully staffed.
Any other questions, commissioners?
I don't have any.
It seems legitimate to me.
Yeah,
I think it's the best way to handle it without having to
Yeah.
go entirely new. I mean, you're gonna be paying for a new set of benefits, and you said, I mean, you know, HR's gotta manage that person. So that puts more stress on them. So I'm fine with this. I'm perfectly comfortable. I think in a lot of our positions, we probably need to expand a little bit and figure out if we've got it right. Particularly in this department, this is a key. So,
And like I said, Commissioner, I was honest, we looked at it, within this whole division, and like I said, the payroll clerk position below it has been getting more as well, but it's within its current focus and job description. Elizabeth and I already talked about that, and I said, it's fine where it's at, those responsibilities are still within the current job description, so we're not gonna come back to you in 6 months or a year and say, well, because of this, we've already talked about that.
now when would this start? Just right away?
sounds like
Or
it already has, except for the project.
Well, no, I mean-
It's just a matter of-
this approval for this amount of money, when does that?
It would be,
take
if you
effect?
approve it, it would be effective at the beginning of the next pay period.
Okay, that's,
Which is technically today, isn't it?
No, it would have been last Saturday, so it'll be, because
Oh, okay.
I don't have a calendar.
from Saturday to,
Yeah, it's always a Saturday and then.
I don't have a problem with that. I guess it's my turn. I would make a motion to approve the expanded senior fiscal analyst position as proposed.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the expanded senior fiscal analyst position as proposed. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner, appreciate it. Next.
Yeah.
Brittany's next. I didn't have an agenda in front of me.
Yep.
Maybe that was the next presentation up there. No, we are caught up. You can't believe we've caught up.
That's right.
10:50, we got a couple minutes.
We do.
Time to go.
Well, Korea years ago, I had. I want to do this, I need to have this.
Well, some of it's contradictory to itself, one regulation says one thing and then the other one says, well, you need to do it something a little different. And it's like, how are you supposed to interpret that properly? You want to do it right, and I do think. He thinks right, there's an occasional one that'll stretch it, obviously.
That's not, I couldn't even if you more like. There is one there, the pyramid. That's what we always try to. I never realized. Right, so.
Over the last 2 legislative cycles, they've politicized some of this at the state level. So, that makes it really, really tough to get anything done or anything through. Just the media, so. Right?
This one's not, just a touch base.
Okay.
Oh, nice, sir. That's a different color drink than your standard one, isn't it?
No, it's just kind of separated because I haven't drank it.
Gotcha, I thought you liked that other one too, that Lori likes, which is the darker color, the black rose or whatever, is that what it's
That's
called?
probably number 3 on my list.
That's what she drinks every day.
She does her teas. I'd say go ahead, but obviously that ain't gonna work.
I have no dad jokes for me.
No.
Somebody stole your agenda.
There wasn't one there. Yeah, I noticed that. That's why I wasn't sure if you were next or not. Usually I have one up there.
It was there when I was there earlier.
So you stole it.
No, I-
That's exactly what I was thinking. Someone probably had some papers up there and grabbed it inadvertently. Knock on that door.
Or looking at me.
Every once in a
Got
while.
that right.
Ooh. Now you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brittany Phillips, Budget and Finance Officer. First, I want to say thank you for approving that expanded position. You have no idea how helpful that is. And then I'll just jump right into cash flows. So first we have economic development. Obviously, nothing in revenue in September and nothing expended. So that brings our ending unencumbered cash balance to $315,128.
What's? Says less cash on there. What else do we have for the year?
And this,
Yeah,
so
we made all the other contributions in July, didn't we?
yes, so there was the comprehensive plan
Oh,
is
okay.
the biggest one.
Okay. Good.
Next, you have county building, bringing in a total revenue of $18,233 and spending pretty much the same amount, $18,299, bringing your unencumbered cash balance to $232,166. CIP, you brought in $10,418 in revenue and spent $406,812, bringing unencumbered cash to $26,822,493. And then we will update this, of course. I don't know if Rich has had a chance to discuss with you guys, but the hardware refresh is okay. Okay, we found out that we don't actually have to do that. So we will be removing that, and that's another.
Yes, 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Nice.
So.
Huh?
But he's already spending it.
Yeah.
Luckily, there's a process.
Gosh.
Next, we have absolute sales tax. We spent $137,928 in the month of September, bringing unencumbered cash balance to $5,793,409. And then the 0.2 cent sales tax, $237,092 was brought in September, and of course, we have no expenditures, bringing unencumbered cash balance to $4,125,064.
We do think it's time we start working on that one. You realize that one's coming up due again?
Yes.
Yeah, it might be good to have some projects in mind when we try to go to resell it.
We just finished our meetings with Road Bridge Advisory, which kind of
Okay,
prioritized our project and we're ready to send them off to request.
okay, sounds
I
good.
do have, I'm waiting for, I hope by the end of the year, have an agreement for the design of my lab.
Okay. That'd be
What's
good.
happening with the window replacement?
Bruce had come and measured. And looked at all the windows and now they're putting their compiling all that together in plans.
Because it seems like it's taken quite a while.
It was
Yeah.
Bruce's schedule to get in and look at every window. And make sure they had the right measurements and things for that, so.
I expect that to
I
probably
was
be a
hoping to get it
spring.
done before winter,
Yeah, I
but
don't think that's gonna happen.
depends on the winter, I guess.
That's true.
And really quick, while I still have you
Okay.
guys, budget amendment for 2024, we do have to do one, and I just wanted to see what schedules look like. I know obviously we have holidays coming up. Is there any day that one of you will definitely not be here that you know of?
Well,
The next
Thursday for
two.
me, yeah, the next two.
Monday.
Next Thursday, yeah,
It's Thursday.
I won't have it ready that soon.
I think you're talking closer to the 1st of December. Or
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
You might want to get to us a little closer to that, because,
Well, I think
Yeah, I haven't got,
KAC gonna be.
yeah, KAC is that first week in
I
December.
haven't got my schedule for Christmas yet either.
Thanksgiving's the week before,
Yeah.
so,
I'll be gone that week.
yeah.
Yeah, Thursday, that first, December 5th, we won't be here.
Okay.
And I won't be here on the second either. As well as the week before.
Okay,
So far, that's all I know.
so maybe that second week in December?
What date is that?
9th and 12th.
Yeah, that might work.
Oh, the 12th is a holiday. What holiday is that? Must be Hanukkah or something.
Which day? November,
12th.
December 12th?
No.
Oh,
November.
no, but if you're
December.
giving it to us, I'll take it.
The Virgin of Guadalupe in Mexico.
Thank goodness.
Well, I guess you are Mexican, aren't you?
Good. Thank goodness.
I don't know what that means, but okay. It was just listed,
I know, and that's why I
It's
was
a
looking
big,
through
it's
this
a
calendar.
light thing.
that's one thing great about this calendar. It shows everything.
We were talking December 12th, maybe a legislative conference, have it penciled in with
Oh, yeah.
Nancy. That
Mm.
was one pencil,
was
that one and that
about it.
Monday.
Oh, but she's gonna do that
That's
during,
during a regular meeting.
yeah, right. She's gonna do this during the regular meeting.
Right.
So
Mhm,
she's just
for
making
sure.
sure we're all here.
Yeah,
Okay,
perfect. I wrote those down. Thank you so much. Any other questions for me? Great.
John, element 11, commissioners, just a little further explanation on that hardware refresh, commissioners. That was originally established due to the request of the previous director of that department that believed that was required. Like I said, it's been busy, commissioners, but Brittany and I, about shortly after she got here, started working on that, reading through contracts, saying, I don't know, it kind of seems like that might be included in the original contract, and had Clancy look at it and Russell look at it. And so we got a meeting with the local vendor plus the actual vendor that would have gotten paid that money. And the local vendor said, no, you guys shouldn't need to, because he deals with this same company nationwide. He puts these systems in all over. I known Scott Fisher forever when we were in college together. And he said, no, and they invited us out to lunch, and he goes, yeah, there shouldn't be, because if there was, I would be aware of my part of that I would be getting. And I don't do that anywhere. You guys don't owe me anything else. And so it's become abundantly clear with all the players involved that we will not be surprise obligated to that in the future. So we will have that money to use, that we are confident for other things.
No more for you, though.
I'm happy.
Okay.
I'm thrilled. Don't let his commentary get over to me, because I'm sitting here minding my own business.
Commissioners, I was able to confirm that Hanukkah begins the evening of Wednesday, December 25th. So
Oh,
right there.
right on, Chris.
Yeah, it's in floats each year.
Everybody's on the same page this year.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Nothing wrong with that. Usually it's earlier, isn't it?
Yeah, usually it's like December.
That's because of the weird extra 2 days in February.
Yeah, and then
Threw
there's,
everything off.
Yeah,
the whole solace.
It's gotta be up to the.
Right.
Right.
Because even like Thanksgiving is later. It's on the 28th this year.
I want to say that the Jewish calendar, I'm a complete nerd, so forgive me for that. That they add a month they add a month like every 5 years or something. And that totally messes with things because it's lunar. So
Oh, I was right, it was moon, the moon.
Probably explains why our seasons are about a month off too.
Yeah, that's probably it. Blame it on the moon.
Yep.
And
Well, we have
today's
the harvest
October
week.
21st. That feels more like August
Yeah.
31st, but it
It's supposed to
does.
be like 85 or 86
Yeah.
Wednesday
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's okay, because it's cool at night, which is
No, it's
good.
not.
Yes, it is.
Okay, Dawn.
You don't know cool, do you?
Commissioner,
In the air.
This
It's only
morning
if
I
you
have
turn the air on, then it's
Sheriff with
cool.
VHS to give you an update on EMS headquarters.
Okay, speaking of, huh?
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
My name's Andrew Gerd, project manager, VHS Construction, working on the Riley County EMS Station 1 headquarters. So wanted to provide an update as part of the RFP process. You know, we acknowledge that we'd be happy to come and provide an update throughout the process of the project, and haven't been here yet, so we've got a lot to kind of catch up on. Kind of give you an overview of where we've been from start to now, and then kind of go through some photos. I'm sure you guys have driven by and seen.
I think we've all taken at least one tour, haven't we?
You have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
By all means, we'd be happy to have you walk through it and see everything. We started towards the end of April, and currently are showing a date of substantial completion towards the end of June of, I should say, 2025. We're not done yet, but
Well, that'd be a really, really interesting turnaround there, 2 months.
so, currently, the original contract of $9,587,108 is our current contract, and we are currently sitting at a contingency of $566,137, which we've been utilizing to make minor modifications and changes as we've kind of gotten through the project up till now. And like I've mentioned in our bi-weekly owner architect contractor meetings, as we get towards the end of this project and realize that some of those funds probably won't be utilized for the construction, we'll look at kind of turning those dollars back over, looking towards phase 2. So definitely dollars that we are tracking very closely, just to make sure that we can utilize them moving forward as needed. Currently, we have billings through the month of September of $3,834,000, and it's about 40% complete. Which, if you've been out and looked at, when we go through the photos, you'll see we've got a lot going on here now, and so that'll kind of pick up here for the next couple of months.
You almost got that enclosed, so it'll work good during the winter time, right?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
working really
good.
hard to get everything enclosed before we run out of this great weather.
Yeah.
That we've currently got, because we know in Kansas it doesn't like us.
Nope.
So we are approximately 67% done with site work. Basically all of our sub-base prep is done. I'm just ready for the final site work. Concrete, we're about halfway done. We're just about done with our building concrete. And then the remainder of that is the site paving, curbs, that kind of thing, approach. Masonry, about 71% complete. They're working on the outside facade right now. Steel is 82% complete. We've got the north and south bays steel in and decked, and we're just waiting on concrete to get done in the center ambulance bay to get that steel on. Framing, drywall, blocking, about 17% complete. So we're just getting that kind of going. And then our mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire sprinkler, fire suppression systems are about 25% complete. And then we're at 0% finish. We're still looking, big picture. towards getting that site work done in or around March of next year. Kind of get through winter and then we'll get everything final prepped, ready for our site paving. Steel, the end of this month, we're looking at pretty close to having all of the steel done for the building. Steel, we'll have some miscellaneous site steel to do, some railings and that kind of thing. Concrete, we're looking at having the building concrete done at the end of this month and getting all of our site paving done towards the end of the project next May. Framing for the interior, looking at being done with that by the end of November. Electrical, plumbing, HVAC, those systems will have our rough end done here over the winter, and then final completion of those systems will be towards the end of the project when we can get all of our light switch covers, test and balance, get all of our full commissioning done. And then still looking at an early June of 2025 completion. So looking through some photos to kind of give you an idea of where we've been. We broke ground at the end of April of this year. Tore out the parking lot, some of the trees, and really started getting the site work going. Into May, working on that building pad. That south side, we had to bring up quite a bit to level the site. I think we had 6 or 7 feet of fill from that south side. Moving into June, worked on site utilities. We had to bring in new water and fire suppression across the road from the east side. So got those utilities brought across and in. And then shortly after that, we started our foundation concrete working from the north side, which is the administrative side. Started on the north side and kind of worked our way towards the south. And once we got our foundations in, we were able to start working on underground MEP roughing and our masonry. So the end of June, we're really getting underground MEP done and getting started on our masonry. Another photo just kind of showing progress there. Early July, we had the north wall between the ambulance bay and the admin area all the way up. And we're starting to work on the east ambulance bay opening. Middle of July, we put in the underground storm detention system, which is on the west side of the building, kind of in between that detention pond or throughway and the back side of the building. So that will be what collects a good portion of the storm runoff from the building and parking lots. It'll work its way in one side and fill up and then slowly allow that water to release. Just kind of to help some of that storm runoff because that drainage system fills up pretty fast during rain events. August 6th, we had the building slab pour for the admin area. First building slab pour that we did on the project. You can see the full height of the masonry walls there. And then shortly thereafter, we got the steel set for that office area. August 20th, we got the deck on, which allowed us to really start bringing in some of the other trades to get started on framing and our mechanical, electrical, roughing. And also in August, on the backside, you wouldn't have seen it if you were driving by because it was down low, but They started working on that retaining wall, which is, it's right on the backside of that storm detention. And it supports the parking on the backside. Early September, we jumped across the ambulance bay and poured the south building slab, which is the living quarters. We got the slab poured and then got started working on that masonry going up vertical. While we were doing that, on the north side, we started our waterproofing membrane for the masonry walls. Inside, we've gotten a good jump on our interior framing. You can see the door frames are all set. Look really close. You can see some of the piping is starting to go in. We've got a lot of the hangers for all the MEP systems. And then here in the last couple of weeks, really making progress in the outside stone, manufactured stone masonry facades going in all the way around the building. There's quite a few different stone elements, different sizes to kind of bring some intrigue. And then once we get that done, we'll work on the metal panel installation. And that's where the fun colors will kind of come in. And then you can see here this last week, we did a mock-up for the exterior signage, just to make sure that all the size of the lettering was appropriate and got the right side elements. And then this last week, we got the roof of the office building started. It's coming along. Yeah, if you guys want to come out and do a tour, please let us know. We'd be happy to have you.
That's good.
Great.
Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Appreciate the update.
Next, Commissioner Jeff Shiloh Hager at 11:15.
Can we start a little early, seeing as I've got to travel?
As long as your cohort,
I'm
they're fine with that.
Travelers here.
Well, actually get a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
What's that?
I don't want him to get a speed, I want him to get a speeding ticket. It's holding here.
Yeah, maybe
Yes,
we need to get a police escort for you, since you're going.
That might be a good idea, yeah. Text things.
John's never used the police being in front of him.
This is true. I'm gonna let you go ahead and go before we do this whole.
Well, and I'll say, we can make this as fast as you want to make it.
Yes.
So, good morning, commissioners. I am Shiloh Hager, Riley County Treasurer, and I am here speaking on behalf of the department heads of the Riley County Office Building and the CPE building. First of all, I would like to thank you all for the opportunity that you gave us back in July to try these new office hours. I know it was kind of a scary endeavor for all of us. We didn't know how it was going to go when we proposed it. I'm not gonna go through all the history, because you know the history. We've done employee surveys about employee satisfaction and what it means to our employees. And we've addressed several of those areas. The final area that we've been trying to cover as department heads of some of the more customer facing departments is how do we offer some of this flexibility scheduling to our employees. And so back in July, we proposed this schedule. I will just speak on behalf of the treasurer's office. Some of the statistics that we have seen over the first 3 months of the trial, we have served over 400 customers between the hours of 7:30 and 8 for the months of July, August, and September. We have received several compliments on having those expanded hours. And as far as department heads, we have not received any written complaints, nor have we received any other than the very first one, the very first week, and that was from a business. And as far as I know, the commissioners have not forwarded any complaints. We are not naive to think that people have not shown up on Friday afternoons to try to get services. A lot of people only come to our buildings once a year, and so they came, you know, they may not have been aware of the new hours. But if you do allow us to go to this change permanently, we will definitely make updates to all of our websites to make sure those hours are very well known to the public. We'll work with Vivian and make sure that we have information out to the public via our social media, and make sure that those hours are known. It's just gonna take some time, I think, for people to get used to that. I do also want to mention, I did mention the CPE buildings. If we do make this a permanent change, it has been proposed the department heads of the CPE building would also like to go to this hour to have consistency between our two buildings of what we're open to the public. Departments like emergency management and community corrections, they'll still work their hours that they need to get their jobs done. However, to have consistency for the two buildings, they would be open to the public the same hours. We do think it's very important that our departments that all work together have those same hours. I know we've had customers come into our office at 7:30 needing to do title work. They've been able to then go up to the appraiser's office, do what they need to get done so that they can come right back down and get that work done. We do have a new VIN inspector as well, and that inspector is willing to work the 7:30, be here at 7:30 in the morning as well, so that they can start helping those customers that are here to do title work at 7:30 in the morning. I would just like the commissioners to think, you know, sometimes we get stuck in the, well, it's always been done this way. You know, I applaud you for looking forward, looking at how we could do things differently. And since we went to our proposed office hours, we were contacted almost a week after and by another county, and there is another county just north of us that have also changed to this model as well. They would like to try it with their staff. And so what we are asking today is for you to allow these departments to make this change permanent, starting with the end of the trial period, which is November 1st. Stand for questions or any of the other department heads that would like to speak on how things are going in their office would be.
Technically, that would be November 4th.
Or November 4th, yeah. This trial period ends November 1st, and then.
May I speak about the register of deeds?
Yes.
So, no, that's okay. So, Elizabeth Ward, Human Resources Director, and I've had many conversations with Amy Mangus, the Register of Deeds. And so we kind of discussed how that might work best for her office. She has not seen clients before 8 a.m. throughout the last time period, and they have had some, I don't have it, she doesn't have an exact number, but they have had some work that has come in, clients that have come on Friday afternoons. And so she would like to request that the Register of Deeds office continue traditional hours, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, closed door, but with appointment Friday afternoon would work best for her office. And the way they make appointments is pretty informal. They just call them and say, hey, you know, can we come by on Friday afternoon? So that, however, I did want to mention, she did say if the commissioners decide that all of the offices need to be in the same hours, that she would make that happen and she would comply with that.
But that would only just be a half an hour difference on the 4 days, and they could still do appointments the same on Friday anyway, right?
Right, so she's just saying that she would like her office staff to be scheduled Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. They're fine to be closed to the door's still locked, the building's closed, they will just make appointments on Friday afternoon like they have been functioning.
They just don't want to come in at 7. They're not seeing the need for coming in at 7:30 as opposed to 8.
That's correct. And also, she was very clear that if that's what the commissioners decide, that the building office hours need to be consistent, that they would make that work. So that was what she would propose for her best
Cause I know before she's talked about Friday's their busiest day,
It usually is, yeah.
because people want to finish, they want to get things completed before the weekend.
But
So,
I haven't seen, at least up until August, the numbers dictate that though either.
agreed.
Okay.
She did not, so we just talked today, and I want you to make very clear like what it is she would be most comfortable proposing, and she did not say that Friday is her busiest day. She has communicated to us in the past that it's difficult for her to lose a half a day, whichever day it is, because she feels that the workload stacks in the next 2 days to work up on it. The numbers have not stated that it's the busiest day as far as clients are concerned. They still have the same number of deeds to process and the same timeline as every other day of the week. But she was very clear that she is a small office, a small number of staff, and that they would make it work however the commissioners decided to make the office hours.
So they've been doing point.
Yeah, they've been open
calling
at 7:30.
appointments
Right,
on
they've been open at
Fridays.
7:30, but they've been making appointments on Fridays. And again, I say the word appointment loosely, but they basically, anyone who wants to come in just gives them a call and they go down and open the door for them.
Well, the idea was that they wouldn't be there in the afternoon. Well, except, are they having a lot of appointments?
She did not have a number.
She didn't have a number, okay.
And again, they're not pre-scheduled appointments, so. it was-
Yeah, that's what I was wanting, pre-scheduled. You know, somebody says I absolutely cannot come in, you know, before. You know, I have to come in on Friday, then.
I'm gonna
They
have
let
to
them
take
do
off
that.
here shortly, so we
Yeah.
can make quick work of this.
Just us department heads, including Register of Deeds office, did have a meeting on this a month or so ago, and she had talked about the appointments on Friday, and she read through the appointments that they were. And I know the one business in town and businesses are concerned with the filing of titles. Many of the appointments were for history, looking up history in the Register of Deeds. So to think that all of the appointments are to close house and real estate transactions is not accurate, and that came from her directly.
And she did say she has not had traffic in the morning, so she did have a clear, I think it was either 0 or 1 that she had in the mornings before 8 AM. So the traffic has not been in the morning, but she did not have a number on of the appointments on Friday afternoon.
Well, no, except for treasurer, most of them have very few 7:30s, I would think.
I don't know what's in it.
The first day of advanced voting, we had 45 between 7:30 and 8. But that's what I used as the education, frankly, for the commissioners on this proposal in the beginning. Elections tell us, commissioners, when people want services. We get the heaviest traffic before people are going to work,
Yeah, on the way.
lunchtime, and after work.
Yeah.
At their convenience and by federal law, you don't have to take annual leave, but a lot of people aren't even aware of that, so they want to do it on their off times.
It's a good indicator of other services. And I think you have,
Just like Charlotte said, when there's customers that are here at 7:30 in her department, they start there, they come to my department, and then they go back there. And so the customers she's servicing are the same customers that we're servicing, and that definitely has increased. And we have a lot of positive feedback even from like K-State University, as well as the Department of Ag. The Department of Ag specifically has referenced how much they appreciated the opportunity to come in at 7:30.
Dealerships, we've had dealerships that come drop off titles on their way in. And I will also I'll just again speak for my office. The employee morale in my office has skyrocketed over the summer. I feel like they work extra hard Monday through Thursday, knowing and that on Friday, they've got a half a day to get knocked out and their weekend starts. We've seen, I know many people can attest to, you see people lining up now at 7:15 instead of where they were lining up at 7:45, now they're lining up at 7:15. And having that half-hour lunch hour has helped really spread out our employees over the lunch hour to where we can get the people that come over the lunch hour serviced quicker. So anyway.
Okay. I don't have any more questions, but.
The only question I have is, you know, this building does it need to be the same as that?
That's what they asked, yes. The
Yeah, that's
department
what
heads here in
asking.
Russell
Yeah.
and Corey, who has his staff in Clancy, they did say if it is adopted, they would like the board to
Like,
allow
yeah,
them to
okay.
adopt it as well.
Because I believe the election staff is already,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, other than right now.
Right, yeah. But I think you're talking about
Totally.
the other department heads are on board as well in this facility.
Okay. We've gotten nothing but positive comments from people.
Okay. We need a motion. I don't mean to be
Yeah,
rushed,
we
but I
do.
need time to get to Riley.
Your turn, Greg. You want to?
No, no.
You don't want, you want me to, do? Okay. I would make a motion. It's a.
There is a motion.
Yeah. There's. Possible motions. Make a motion to approve, that the commissioners change the public access hours of the RCOB and the CPE buildings to 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 7:30 to 12 p.m. Friday, on a permanent basis.
No second.
It's been moved and seconded to go ahead and change the permanent hours for the RCOB and the CPE buildings to 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and 7:30 to 12 p.m. on Fridays, on a permanent basis. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, Commissioners.
Thank you very much, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Might be able to accomplish both. We got business done and we're gonna get John a ticket.
Yeah, probably. There we go.
I know for a fact.
Send it here.
It's not- I'm not gonna have enough time.
Yeah, you need an escort.
I'm not gonna have enough time, so.
Your motion.
Move to adjourn the October 21st meeting, Board of County Commissioners.
I would second that.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
We have to shut that up for mine. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn the October 20th meeting of the Riley County Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm trying to hurry.
Be careful.